So I'll start, give you a little bit about my background. I have a wife and 3 kids, just so you all don't think I'm a robot. I spent 14 years as a civil engineering technician up in Grand Rapids. It took me that long to figure out that that wasn't what I wanted to do as a career. So I decided to go back to school, and I'm just finishing up at Western Michigan University right now. I'm an avid waterfowl hunter and conservationist, and that's kind of what led me to go down this career path. I spent the last 3 years as a student assistant for the DNR waterfowl specialist. I had many duties there. Did duck banding, we did annual reporting, flew aerial surveys, a lot of species monitoring. Some of my career goals are just to learn. I mean, the older I get, the more I realize I just have to learn. Like, try to take in as much as I can. I'm going to plan on going to graduate school in the spring of 2017, and hopefully do research in waterfowl and wetland management. And my holistic approach, my overall goal is to have a career that enhances, restores, and protects wildlife. So you might wonder, how does PCCI fit into this career goal or this career path? Again, learn. I think this is a great place to learn, about a variety of species, a variety of techniques. So the Land Management Fellowship really popped up on my radar for those reasons. I can learn habitat management, invasive species control, plant identification, and one of the big keys for me is learning how to do this land management plan. It's a tool that a lot of wildlife managers and land managers need to have. They need to know how to do that in their career, so that's important. And just to diversify experience. My outcomes for the summer, which are ultimately what I want to get good at, what I want to learn, are proficient in plant identification. I mean, you kind of got to know what you're looking at out there. Again, development of the land management plan for the wetland portion of the Jones property. Also, to get my prescribed fire management certification and pesticide applicator's license. Those are 2 tools that are good to have as a land manager. And lastly, but not least, is to get to know all of you. Get to know what you're doing research on, get to know the future of wildlife management or land management and conservation. You guys are the future. I'm not so much the future, but the present.
Okay, well, here's a little bit more about me. So I spent the past 2 years at Grand Rapids Community College studying for my transfer degree, which is an associate's degree in science. I'm headed into Grand Valley's program in the fall, and that's where I'll be. Many of you may recognize me as the Gordon Art Fellow from last year, and that's a bit of a curious story. Like, how did I go from art to land management? But they are more interconnected than you may think. I've always had a passion for outdoor work, hard work, and just hands-on active work. This really allows me to solve problems and collaborate with the community here. I'm really excited to be able to do that. And I'm also, in the fall, pursuing a bachelor's degree in biology at GVSU. So this goes hand in hand with what I want to do in the future. I will always be intrigued with design and functional design, but I also have more interest in that. And those include learning and land management techniques, trail maintenance here. I'm very intrigued by habitat restoration and botany as well, along with species monitoring. So how does this fellowship fit? I am learning all about trail maintenance and different techniques that the Institute uses here to restore habitats. I'm developing hands-on skills, so I'm learning and practicing how to use power tools or chainsaws and other heavy equipment. And most importantly, I'm being exposed to a bunch of different people, what they do, and the different projects that are happening here. So I'm really building and shaping my foundation and what I know in my education here. And that will continue to help me in years to come as I pursue this degree, this biological degree. So, like Cory, my outcomes are very similar. I'm hoping to become more proficient at plant identification. I'm also learning and practicing different land management techniques, and I hope to become a licensed pesticide applicator by the end of the summer, as well as certified in prescribed fire. And I will also be developing a land management plan for the Jones property. Just part of it, not the entire thing. So let's just jump into the current projects that we've been doing all summer. And Cory, you can start us out with that one.
So I'll start with the observation deck and the boardwalk. This is a project that we completed in the early part of June with the help of volunteers that did a tremendous job. It's down on the north end of the Whitetail Trail. If you guys haven't been there yet, you might want to check it out. It's a 12 by 10 observation deck with approximately 100 feet of boardwalk. We also have done a lot of trail and demonstration garden maintenance, like Hannah mentioned. We're out there clearing brush off the trails. We try to do a kind of a routine where we're keeping them clear every 2 to 3 weeks. Demonstration gardens are routinely weeded, so you'll see us out there quite a bit. The berm out there in the parking lot, a lot of you might think it's just weeds, but we've actually planted a lot of plugs, and a lot of native wildflower seeds have been broadcast out there. Also in this picture you can see we're collecting lupin out in the prairie, so that's something we've been doing too. We've collected lupin and prairie smoke seeds so far this season.
Another big thing that we do here is prairie restoration currently. So this prairie that you can see over here is the southwest prairie in this corner of the property. We do prescribed fire burns. Cory and I were lucky enough to be part of one this spring. That's actually the first time we met each other without a prescribed fire burn. And that gives a chance for the native plants to really grow and kind of take hold of that community. We also had our first chainsaw lesson on this prairie. As you can see in the middle picture, we felled some trees. Most of that is actually cottonwood work. And then on the final prairie, which is the sand prairie, we burned brush piles, we felled more trees, and we are planting plugs in order to restore that to native oak savanna prairie habitat. And then volunteer work days. Most of the students know about these because a lot of them have been involved in them. And I'm going to put a shameless plug out there. We have one tomorrow, 9 to 12. So if you're interested, you guys, it's a lot of fun. It's hard work, but it's fun, and it builds community. So you can see here, our volunteers are out there planting plugs. We pulled garlic mustard early on in the summer season, and then once we were done with that, we moved on to spotted knapweed, and that's what we're working on right now. We're hoping for golden strike. Well, we're not hoping for it, but we're probably going to have to tackle that in the next upcoming month or so. And that's what we do.
So we'll dive into some future projects now. Obviously, a lot of these are ongoing projects, so we work on these all summer long. But here's a few specific ones that we're going to target from here through the rest of the summer. Invasive species control, like Hannah mentioned, we have done some spotted knapweed and garlic mustard, but we're gonna do some purple loosestrife and obviously some other invasives as well. We're going to continue to do species monitoring, and this picture kind of shows a little bit about what goes on. There's Kyle and Hannah out in the sand prairie with a eastern box turtle nest cage on there. So we're monitoring that. We're going to do plant surveys, and again, not to reiterate, but we're going to get our pesticide applicator's license and our prescribed fire certification.
And what's going to take up the majority of our summer as we kind of near the end of the fellowship is the Jones Property Management Plan. So Jen has put together this extensive, just all-encompassing plan of the current property. But since we acquired the Jones property, we also need a plan that tackles the forest and the wetlands and the prairie of the Jones property. So Cory is focusing on the wetlands, and I will be focusing on the prairie or forest. It's not yet decided. And we will put that together, and it will go in for review, but that's like our final all-encompassing project for the year.
So, lastly, are there any questions?